All right, so welcome to another day of Daily Nuggets of Wisdom. I am picking up where I was last week, or I think Thursday. Sacrificing fun for financial prosperity. Sacrificing fun for financial prosperity. I began this series, I think Monday or a couple days ago, with the idea of sacrificing fun. And my question was, are you willing to sacrifice fun and pleasure-seeking self-indulgence to impact 7 major areas of your life? Those 7 areas are financial prosperity, physical health, academic excellence, business success, personal development, stronger relationships, and spiritual maturity. Are you willing to sacrifice fun for those areas of your life to be developed? Jasmine, since you're back there, you and Lily, why don't you guys just wave and say hello? You can say hello too, that's fine.
Hello.
That's all cool. So anyway, good. Well, welcome to another day of Daily Nuggets of Wisdom. Sean Isaacs here. I began talking about this actually 3 days ago. And it started out as just a thought about the need, how seeking pleasure and pursuing things or fun, how that can hinder us from growing and being able to be successful in major areas of our life. And the lighting in my car is awful right now because the sun is out. So hopefully at some point this will change as I move. Anyway, so what I want to do today is I just want to spend a few minutes while I'm driving to the farm. Okay, there's a farm near to my house, and we don't do the regular milk and a lot of the things that you will get in the grocery store. We actually do raw milk, and I can do raw milk where I live, and it has a lot of benefits. So that's where I'm heading right now, and so I want to continue this topic. If you're new to the topic, the text I've been using is Proverbs 21:17. Okay, I'm really trying to figure out how I can get this lighting to change, Jasmine. Proverbs 21:17 says, "He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich." He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loves or loveth, said like a lady, he that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. This text says some people are poor because they like fun too much. Pleasure, right? Whether that's video games or gambling, it doesn't have to be bad indulgences. It can be lawful indulgences. As I shared in my last talk, you can love sleep too much. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. Proverbs 6 says, "So shall thy poverty come." Poverty is not limited to financial poverty. We can be spiritually poor, and that is in a bad sense. There is a sense of spiritual poverty that's a good sense. Jesus says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." If you are poor in spirit, the idea is you recognize you have no resources in and of yourself. You are empty to merit anything from God, and without Him you can do nothing. That kind of poverty is good. But there is a spiritual poverty that's not good, where you are spiritually poor. You're depraved. You don't know spiritual things. You're not passionate or desiring to pursue spiritual things. And we'll talk about that, Lord willing, in a couple days. So those 7 areas of poverty, areas that are important areas where we can see poverty in our life, can be academically, it can be spiritually, it can be relationally or personally in our personal relationships, it can be financially. That's what this text is all about. Physically, a lot of people are physically poor. You know, what we sow, we reap. You don't take care of yourself in your youth, right, Jasmine? You eat bad food every day. You don't exercise at all. You don't have enough activity. What happens to you when you get older?
You get big and fat.
It'd be big and fat. That's not politically correct today, but that's true. But what could be the outcome of all of that? Physically. So you just describe how someone looks. What about how they feel?
Tired.
Tired, exhausted, worn out, sick, possibly. What? You think so?
They could be diabetic.
Diabetic. Now you're getting someplace. So if you don't take care of yourself when you're young and you stay on a steady diet of candy and sugar, what can happen to you by the time you're 30, 35, 25, 30, 35 years old? What? Heart attack, stroke,
cancer.
diabetes, cancer, what else? So all those things are possible. So are you saying those things don't just happen, that they can be the result of actions that we took?
Yeah.
Yes? You gotta speak up so people can hear you, man. You're on television now. Right? So, guys, what I want to do for the next few moments, I've given a basic overview of this text. It says, he that loveth wine and oil shall be a poor man. He that loves pleasure shall be poor. And if you love wine and oil, you will not be rich. And wine and oil represents luxury. Wine and oil, in Solomon's day, it took almost 300 days of wages for the average worker in the field to be able to buy wine and oil. Right? So you had to be at a certain level of income or wealth to be able to do this. So Solomon is not just saying just because you love wine and oil you won't be rich. What wine and oil represents is feasting. It represents pursuing pleasures and self-indulgence. And those things, if that's the governing control of our lives, leads to poverty. All right, so I gave 3 overviews of this text. Number 1, 4 overviews, if I can remember them. I said blessings can be harmful. Blessings can be harmful. How do we know? He that loves pleasure shall be poor, and he that loves wine and oil will not be rich. Wine and oil is lawful. They're not unlawful. They're not bad things. They're blessings from God. Throughout the Old Testament, wine and oil is a blessing. Deuteronomy 7, Deuteronomy 8. Wine and oil is something God promises to those he blesses. All right, so that's a blessing. But it can be harmful if it's more important to me or you than pursuing God, right? Than building strong relationships, than taking care of our physical health, than taking care of our emotional health. Lily, you want to go with Jasmine? You can go if you like. All right, you can catch up to her, right?
Yeah, I can.
All right, good girl. All right, so
I'm going to go see the animals. My favorite animal, a horse.
Your favorite animal is what? A horse?
Yeah, I'm going to see.
You're going to see the animals?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
You'll be right back. Okay, have fun. All right, so blessings can be harmful. That's overview. That's point number 1. Number 2, poverty is a bad thing. This text says, he that loves pleasure will be a poor man. By implication, without telling me poverty is bad, the overview that I made from this text is that poverty is a bad thing, biblically speaking. The only type of poverty that I see as a good thing is spiritual poverty is good. Matthew 5, blessed are the poor in spirit. Being poor in the sense that you are needy, you're dependent on God, that kind of poverty is good. And then God says in James that he has chosen those that are poor. The poor will be with us always, the Bible says. God has chosen the poor to be rich in faith. It doesn't mean you should desire to be poor or you should make yourself poor, right? I mean, if you want to do that, that's up to you. But the idea is, if you are poor, and by the way, you could be rich and still poor. The Proverbs say there's he that has much and makes himself poor, right? I think poverty is not just... I'm sorry?
Can I get ice cream?
No ice cream today. I think we have some at home.
No, we don't.
But,
Mommy didn't buy us ice cream.
No, not today. We had a lot of ice cream last night. Love you. Okay, kids are so smart. They know there's the right time to ask for stuff. Anyway, poverty is a bad thing. That's one of the things I get from this. And it's not the only... I mean, you can, on your own time, if you're not in agreement, look at how the word poor is used throughout the Bible. And it's not in the context is not a positive thing. By that, it doesn't mean that God is against the poor, and it doesn't mean that we should be against the poor. I grew up poor or without much, and to this day, I think it has everything to do with the drive that I have today. Right? I don't think if I was wealthy or middle class growing up, I don't know if I would have the same drive. And studies show that kids who tend to grow up in homes where parents say, we're not going to let you suffer the way I did or go through what we did, those kids tend to not be as successful or not successful, as ambitious as their parents. It's an interesting study. That's not the purpose. Thank you. Did everything work out? Great. You can keep the receipt. Thank you very much. What do you say?
Thank you.
Well, I said thank you. Why would you say thank you? Welcome would be nice.
Why is Lily?
She went to look at the horses. I don't know what she's doing. Do you want to go with her?
No.
Okay, we'll wait for her. So, poverty is a bad thing in Scripture. And again, if you need context for what my statement, God again says He's chosen the poor to be rich in faith. I believe that, Jazzy, sit like a lady. I believe that poor people are some of the wealthiest people in the world. So I'm not against poverty. I'm just stating from this, there are some people that are poor because they're governed and controlled by pleasure and fun. So the money, instead of investing and growing money, they spend money on stuff to feel better. Thirdly, we said that some pleasure is harmful. It could be lawful, but still harmful. All right, some things that are pleasurable. And I don't remember what the fourth overview was, but if you're interested in that, you can look at the previous two. What I want to do today is I now want to talk a little bit about how pursuit of pleasure and fun, how they lead to poverty. And what we've looked at already is, one, we said that it destroys contentment, right? Pursuit of pleasure and fun only. Let's use the word only and circle that. I'm not saying fun is not important. If you missed the previous talks, then you would not have context that fun and pleasure in and of itself is not a bad thing, for God says He's given us richly all things to enjoy. Did everything work out? Did you see the animals?
Yes.
Yes, Daddy?
I couldn't see that horse because there was a little thing and it almost bit me.
A thing almost bit you, so you ran, huh? You decided seeing the horse was not as important as protecting yourself? That sounds like what you're saying. You need to put on your seatbelt. Put on your seatbelt, and your door's not properly closed. Let's close it again.
It looked
All right.
like a duck.
It looked like a duck and it bit you?
No, it almost bit me.
It almost bit you?
Yeah, it moved.
Oh, you moved.
Yeah.
Yeah? Did it make a sound?
No, it just, I was standing here, and then this went like that, and then I moved.
And you moved. Okay. So you were smart enough to know, even though I want to see the horse, I don't want to see the horse more than getting bitten by a duck. I don't know if
Not
ducks...
a duck.
Oh, it wasn't a duck. It just looks like a duck?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got you. Yeah, we don't want to get bitten by no ducks. So, all right. Well, that's all good and cool. So do you have on your seatbelt?
No.
You don't? What's a better word than nope? Huh?
She
What's a
said
better
no.
word than no or nope?
She said no.
Lily?
Daddy.
No what?
She said
All right. Awesome. Okay. All right. So, yeah, guys. So much for the formalities and the formal approach to a daily nugget of wisdom. You get a bird's eye view into a little bit of the Isaacs family. Anyway, as I was saying, what fun and pursuit of pleasure tend to do is it destroys contentment and joy. It destroys contentment and joy. The second thing we looked at is that it destroys discipline and work ethic, right? If you are wired to have fun, you may not want to get out of bed and go to work, right? Because sleeping for many people is pleasurable. It's fun. I know it's fun for me. I like to sleep. Do you girls like to sleep? Jasmine, do you like to sleep?
No.
You don't like to sleep. Jasmine doesn't like to sleep. So you think like sleeping is a waste of time?
Yes, because you could be doing something fun instead of like being unconscious. in
So
bed.
for you, sleep is not fun,
No.
but since you love fun, you would give up sleep for fun.
Because sleep is like horrible because you're literally just laying there unconscious and you don't know when you're gonna wake up unless you have an alarm. So it's like you're just laying there.
Well, who created sleep?
God.
God. So, do you think he's smarter than men
Yeah.
and women and children?
Yeah.
So, I think he made sleep for a reason. What do you think?
Yeah. But I'd
What do you think would happen if you didn't sleep for 7 days straight?
You'll be so tired.
You'd be tired, Lily? Yeah, that's one thing, but what else is possible? You can actually get sick. People actually can die from not
die
getting enough
after
sleep.
14 days.
Oh, it's 14 days. Oh, you're so smart. You're smarter than me. So it takes about 14 days to die if you don't have sleep. So I think sleep would be important. You know there's certain parts of your body that does not grow and develop if you don't get enough sleep? Do you know that lack of sleep affects your brain and your mind and your thinking? Yeah. So it makes sense to have some sleep, right? What do you think?
Yeah.
Yes? All right. All right, well, that's cool. So we got Jasmine's take on this, and she's pretty sharp and pretty smart. So, pursuing fun, we said, destroys contentment and joy. Secondly, it destroys discipline and work ethic. Today, I want to look at two things. How pursuing fun can cloud our judgment and our focus. And thirdly, it wastes time and seasons. So I'll start with the last one first because I may want to take a little more time on that, and I'm only a few minutes from home and I would like to shut down by the time I get home. So the Bible says in the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, it says, "Look at the ant, thou sluggard, and gain wisdom." The ant has no ruler, no overseer, no guide, yet the ant knows how to prepare during, I'm going to describe it this way. The ant knows how to take advantage of good seasons. See, watch, right? They're out feasting, they're going to parties. While everybody else is out doing that and not taking advantage of the season, what the ant is doing is the ant understands time. The ant is redeeming the time. The ant is buying back time. The ant understands that the harvest is coming soon. Summer is almost past. The winter is coming. There's coming a point and a time when I will not be able to be out here gathering food for my children and my family as an ant, right? We're talking about the ant. Governed and controlled by pleasure. The ant is governed and controlled by principle, right? Because of that, what the ant does is the ant takes advantage of seasons. Those who are controlled and governed by pleasure lose and waste time, and they don't take advantage of seasons. Jasmine, you know what one of the regrets I have? Jasmine, you listening? Because there's nobody on here, so it's just you and I talking now. All right, one of the regrets I have is because I liked fun and pleasure when I was 19 and 20 while I was in college. You know what I did? Come on, speak to me.
I don't know.
I can't see you. I gotta hear you. I don't know if you're listening.
I am.
You are listening, so you got to speak up so I can hear you. So what I did is I wasted that season of college. And one of my regrets today is that I partied a lot while I was in college, and my grades were not that great. And I got okay grades without studying at all. I didn't study at all. And I got like C's, but I could have easily been an A student and a top student if I applied myself. So that's one of my regrets. Because I pursued pleasure, I was poor in the area of academics and education. I wasted my grandfather's and my father's money. I wasted time that I should have been with my family. You know, I was away from my mother, right? My mom was, what country is my mother from? Is mom from? The Bahamas, right. So Grammy was in the Bahamas, and I was in New York City, and I went almost 4 years without seeing Grammy while wasting time in school. I didn't take advantage of those seasons. So my point, guys, is that when you love pleasure, pleasure will cause you to waste time. It destroys the need to redeem time and seasons, opportunities that come into our life that we can take advantage of. We could be far more ahead than we are but we're not, because we're not willing to discipline ourselves so that he could pursue eternal pleasures. So eternal pleasures. See, you don't really lose anything when you say no now, right? You say no now, it doesn't mean that you won't have yes later. Whatever we sow, that we reap, right? So a pursuit of fun and pleasure wastes time and destroys seasons and opportunities that you and I can take advantage of. And we have to be careful that we're not wired for pleasure, and that we don't wire and train our kids for pleasure. Jasmine, what are some words that are banned in our house that we can't use in our home?
Bored.
I'm sorry?
Bored.
Say it loud.
Bored.
Bored. So you're not allowed to say what?
Bored.
I'm what?
Bored.
Bored. And why? Why is it that Daddy doesn't allow you to say that word? Speak out. I want people to hear you. Tell them. Talk to the camera. Tell them.
Well,
Why is it
I
that
don't
Daddy
think
don't?
This is because of you, but this is what I think.
What you think? Right. So we've never really talked about it.
Well, we did, but I want to say why.
Oh, you want to say why you think, and then you'll tell them why I say what I've said? That's fine.
Yeah,
Let's do both.
because,
So this is Daddy and Jasmine's daily nugget of wisdom. Right.
Because if you're bored, then you're bored.
If you're bored, then you're boring.
Yes.
Okay. That's your
Bored
explanation.
people are boring people.
Wow. That's so profound. Man, that's very enlightening. My day is made. All right. Now tell me why I've said you can't say I'm bored.
No.
Okay. So, one of the reasons Daddy does not allow you and Lily to say you're bored, sit like a lady. I'm in the camera.
I am sitting bored.
Not quite. One of the reasons I don't allow that is because when a child is allowed to say they're bored, they stop using the things around opportunities to enjoy life, right? So usually a child that's like, I'm bored, is a child that's used to stimulation, right? Whether that's television, mobile devices, and so on and so on. Legos, right? Right. So we don't allow that type of language because I believe a child that starts out with the mindset